Welcome into Training Camp Live, presented by Xfinity. It's the Houston Texans back at work for day 7 out at the Houston Methodist Training Center, back in full pads for a second consecutive day. Welcome in. I'm your host, DP Sidhu, along with my good friend, Drew Doherty. We love to bring you coverage live from Texans Training Camp every single day as we head into week 2. Lots to look forward to, Drew. Today, the coordinators will be addressing the media after practice, get a chance to catch up with Tim Kelly, offensive coordinator, and Lovie Smith, defensive coordinator, and special teams coordinator Frank Ross, and find out how they think week 1 has gone so far.
No doubt, DP, and you see Tim Kelly there in the sweatpants and sweatshirt or hoodie and hat, and I'm stunned by this. I mean, it's in the 90s, it's sunny, it's hot, and he is wearing all that clothing. Good for Tim. Going to be fun to see and hear what he has to say a little bit later on. Entering year number 2 as the offensive coordinator, you know he's putting his signature on this offense and going to tweak things and make things a little bit different than they were over last year and the years before that. So, yes, we will hear from him. We'll hear from Lovie Smith and Frank Ross, like you're talking about, the special teams coordinator. We've got some special teams tidbits that we're going to bring up a little bit later in the show, DP, but it's good to be here. Good to be talking about another Texans padded practice at training camp.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of excitement heading into yesterday's practice. It was a lot of fun to see the guys back in pads because they've just been in shells and shorts this entire offseason, and it's really the first day of evaluation, real football, as David Culley, head coach, said. And I think they were pleased with what they saw, Drew. It seemed like most of practice yesterday was there was a little bit of team, and then there was a lot of instructional periods, which I thought was interesting. I was ready for some red zone work right off the bat, like we saw them do Saturday. But the end of practice, some 2-minute teamwork, and I think that was probably the highlight of practice for me as we saw Tyrod Taylor sort of march the offense down the field, and you saw the defense get to work as well.
Yeah, he was very impressive, Taylor was, in guiding that and running that offense like you talk about in the 2-minute drill. He capped it off with a run of his own and scored in the end zone, or got into the end zone there with a nice little keep. But before that, hit Brandon Cooks on the right sideline, found Kiki QT over the middle for a big gain. Both those guys, QT and Cooks, have had solid training camps thus far. As you see, number 5, Tyrod Taylor, in the red jersey, getting loose and getting going here at training camp. So he really brought back a lot of calm. You and I were talking about this in another venue earlier today. He brought back a lot of calm when he returned a couple days ago after having the Saturday off and the Sunday as a team off. So, yeah, he's the guy under center. He's the guy that's going to lead this team for the near future for sure, and he's done a solid job of that so far.
It was his birthday yesterday as well, so a nice way to cap off his birthday with a little touchdown run and some great passes on offense. And then after practice, the offensive linemen poured water all over him. They dapped him up. They were super excited. So I think the offense, they're developing some chemistry. Everyone's talking about Tyrod Taylor and how much of a leader he is, his pocket presence. I've seen him on the sidelines talking to some of the younger guys in between plays and sort of going through instructional things and what he wants to see out of them. So you love to see it, especially since he wasn't here in camp last year. He's got some familiarity with Pep Hamilton and with David Culley. So now he's getting familiar with some of his wide receivers and his running backs. And I think that's going to be a fun battle to watch with pads now on. The offensive line, how does it come together? The backs in that room, I believe we're going to have one of those backs mic'd up for today's practice, so you will have to stay tuned to HoustonTexans.com to see more of that tomorrow.
You bring up the offensive line. I was really impressed by what I saw and what I've seen all camp, but especially yesterday in some one-on-one drills from Titus Howard. Immovable almost. And I need to throw Laramie Tunsil in as well, but it's kind of like he's an all-pro. He's going to do that. But Titus Howard really, he buried some guys and took them to the ground yesterday and was really, really impressive. So if he can continue that and sustain that in the regular season, look out, because Titus Howard was really doing a good job yesterday in one-on-ones.
Well, we've talked about how we've seen him sort of rotate at that guard position and tackle position, and he was asked about it yesterday. He said whatever he prepares for, he feels like he's at that level where he can do it, because he's heading into year 3 now.
Yeah.
And he's got Laramie Tunsil sort of guiding him. He called him his big brother, giving him, showing him the ropes. I'd be surprised if he did move inside to guard Drew. I don't know about you. I feel like they're just sort of trying everything out because obviously, as you know, in this league with injuries and whatnot, you never know what can happen. It's good to be able to try out your spots, or maybe that helps him working on the interior to be better on the outside.
I'm like you. I think it would be a mild upset if he was on the inside. I think he's a right tackle, and I think he's played well there and continues, like you say, to improve and assimilate in the league. And I would be a little surprised if he was there in any other spot than right tackle. he's looked the part and done a good job so far.
Yeah, he certainly has. Yesterday also, some rookies got into the action. There was one particular play. It was Davis Mills throwing a pass to Brevin Jordan. A long, deep pass down the field. A beautiful pass, beautiful catch. It got called back because I think they called a sack on the play. I think Jordan Jenkins broke through. So the offense got so excited, they called it back. But some fun plays, some great plays by the defense. We saw Vernon Hargraves get a couple of picks yesterday. One in 7-on-7s, one during team drills. So Lovie Smith, he continues that streak of takeaways as this defense gets going.
Yeah, for sure. And, we got lots of questions. We want to hear from you. We love hearing from you. And we've got one from Christian all the way from Germany. Thank you, Christian, for sending this in. And he says, any news on Deshaun Watson's status? He's not been out at practice the last 2 days. He's not out there today. Wasn't out there yesterday in the pads. That's all we got. David Culley, the head coach, said nothing new has changed with Deshaun Watson. So no number 4 in practice today and yesterday. And we'll just move on and see what goes from there. It's all Taylor, Driscoll, and Mills, not necessarily in that order. Daniel from Illinois has this. Has Kahale Waring been getting reps? Yes, he has. He continues. I mean, every time he's at practice, and this goes back to his rookie year, he has looked good, but he's gotten bitten by the injury bug and hasn't been on the field. But he did finally play some at the end of last regular season. He's looking good right now. It's a talented tight end room. Andy Bischoff, the new tight ends coach, came to the Texans from Baltimore where they had an outstanding tight ends group. So I think he likes the talent that's here with Waring and the rest of this crew. We'll see if he gets more reps or gets playing action, makes the squad. But, yeah, he's definitely in the mix, and he's done a nice job. As DJ Dunny, Brandon Dunn, number 92, is right there in the center of your screen, taking up the
taking your playlist requests. Speaking of tight ends, Drew, we had a few transactions that went down yesterday. Pharaoh Brown, tight end, as well as the DBs Lonnie Johnson and Cornell Armstrong. They were activated off of the active non-football injury list. That's great news. That's how they started off camp. Now that they're off, they're able to practice. And we saw Pharaoh out there a little bit. We saw Lonnie out there a little bit. David Culley, after practice, was asked about them. He said they're still in the ramp-up period. So they just got back into practice. They're sort of mixing them into the fold. So I think as days go on, we'll get to see them more and more. But it was kind of cool to see Lonnie with number 1 out there. And Pharaoh, he's been out there on the field, just not practicing. Yesterday he was out there. And it's a talented tight end group. I feel like Tyrod Taylor really likes throwing to the tight ends as well. And you can't exclude Brevin Jordan in that mix, too, because he's out there. A little bit quieter than Kahale Waring making those catches, and Jordan Akins, who catches everything his way. And yeah, Brandon Dunn agrees. He totally agrees with that. He's
telling us something, and you got Whitney Merciless there that he's messing with his hair. Brandon Dunn was, and I guess Dunn thought that we could hear him, but the volume's not up. So okay, Brandon, whatever you say. Hey, JC wants to know. This is a good one. Which Texans player's jersey would you buy this year? 2 most notable that I think come to mind would be Brandon Cooks and Laramie Tunsil. Both of them I think, play at a Pro Bowl caliber. Remarkably, Brandon Cooks has never been selected to a Pro Bowl. That's really kind of a travesty. I mean, he's cranked out 1,000-yard seasons, and I say that every single day, but he's consistently produced in the NFL. But I think those two are guys that you could really get behind and buy their jersey if you're into the jersey buying type of scene.
I like those. Laramie Tunsil's a great jersey to buy. Did not even think of buying an offensive lineman's jersey. I like the number 1, so if Lonnie Johnson has a good year,
that's a cool
like to have that one. And then Justin Reed, I think he's really setting himself up for a big year. He's had a tremendous camp. Not surprising. You sort of expect that from your starters, but he has just really come into his own. I think even from his rookie year, he sort of carried himself like a vet. And that now that he is a vet, he certainly does the way he is out on the field, his leadership, speaking to the media, everything. I think he's just such a great leader on and off the field. So I'd go Justin Reed as well.
It's a good choice. I like those choices. I'm with you.
We got the players warming up. Arm circle time. There's Justin Reed right there in the center of the fold. He says he feels bigger, faster, more fluid. He obviously missed the last 3 games last year with an injury, was put on season-ending injured reserve, but now he's back. He said the one blessing of last year's season, the way it went, was that he was able to work on himself this offseason and get really healthy.
Yeah, he got a head start on his rehab process. Yeah, he's quicker, bigger, faster, stronger, all the stuff he said the other day. And, yeah, he's played like it. He sure has looked like it. The evil twins.
Here's his evil twin, number 1.
Yeah, Justin Reed and Lonnie Johnson Jr.
All right, so there's the defensive players warming up under the leadership of Lovie Smith, who's probably out there walking around somewhere. If you've seen him, he's got this big white beard. And, we have this question that we place on the Sky Bridge as players are heading over to practice, and we wanted to know what players thought of Lovie Smith's beard. Do they prefer him with a beard or clean shaven? Take a look at the question of the day.
No beard, Lovie.
Nah, it gotta go to beard, man.
Nah, you gotta keep it on him, man.
I'm saying bearded Lovie.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I like the beard better. No, Lovie. Hey, man, keep the beard, man. Keep the beard,
Yeah,
man.
the beard. The beard look like that OG look.
Definitely gotta keep the beard. Come on now. It's an easy question.
Oh yeah, Lovie needs to keep the beard, though.
Hey,
Lovie
boy.
needs to keep that.
Don't ever shave that beard, Lovie.
Bearded Lovie.
Bearded Lovie is the best. I've never seen a white beard.
Beard all day.
Cut mine down, but still bearded gang all day.
I gotta go with the bearded Lovie. Yeah, he got the swag.
I think the beard do him justice.
Yeah, gotta go with the beard.
Bearded Lovie.
I'm gonna go bearded. My guy looks like he's full of wisdom.
You gotta go with the beard.
That's good. That's be some good content for you guys.
There he is, live on the field, bearded Lovie Smith. I think it's unanimous among the players, Drew. Everybody seems to like the white beard. You cannot miss him anywhere on the field. Practice field 1, 2, or 3, he's very easy to spot.
Shows up for sure. That's the case. Hey, this guy holding a camera that you see, that's Zach Tarrant. He works for the Houston Texans. So many and all of the great pictures that you see on the HoustonTexans.com website, promotional material, probably good chance they were taken by him. So good to see Zach in there. And just beyond Zach, number 38 is out there. That's Buddy Howell. Buddy Howell, of course, has been an excellent special teamer the last few seasons, but he hasn't been practicing the first week or so of camp. But pads are on. He's out there today. Good to see Buddy Howell back out to work.
Yeah, he was on the COVID list, but we saw him out there on the practice field with a mask. They sort of have to work their way back so many days that they can be out there at practice. So hopefully he gets in the mix here too, because it's a talented running backs group, like we talked, and he does a lot of great things on special teams. So eager to see how he comes into the mix. There's the quarterbacks warming up, all 3 of them that are out there today. And should be another great day in pads. What are you expecting to see from Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll today, Drew? I know that Tyrod Taylor, he was able to move the offense, but what do you expect to see from the other 2?
You know, if you listen to them, if you listen to the rest of the guys on the offense, the coaches, they want to see mistakes get corrected. And so Davis Mills made a lot of mistakes on Saturday, and then on Monday he came back and I thought you saw far fewer mistakes. Now, it was different situations. He wasn't in the goal line all that much, wasn't in the red zone all that much, but he did look better in that regard. Same thing yesterday with Jeff Driscoll. Struggled yesterday, so today you want to see him correct some of those mistakes and not make some of the mistakes that he made yesterday. So improvement, I mean, that's the main thing. They got to get better, got to do better things than they did the day before. Keep getting that 1% better, as we've heard many, many people on this team say. So, yeah, just the I word, improvement, DP.
Yeah, and I think to build on that, Tyrod Taylor had a good day yesterday, but they also want to see consistency. You have a good day one day. It's not really enough to rest your laurels. I think they want to see him repeat that again today and really set an example for the rest of the offense. Because if Tyrod Taylor's having a good day, everyone on the offense is having a good day. So it really sets up a good day of practice. They didn't do any red zone work yesterday.
Right.
They just did the 2-minute drill. So I'm eager to see how they start folding that in now that pads are on.
Yeah, really, the only red zone they did was
Saturday.
one play. Yeah, well, the one play yesterday
yes.
during the 2-minute drill. It was kind of a combo of the two. And one play resulted in a touchdown. I thought, Taylor did a nice job, reminded folks, hey, I'm pretty mobile. You better remember that I got some good legs. And he was asked about it, and jokingly he was asked, hey, David Culley said you're just as fast now as you were 5-6 years ago when you were in Buffalo. Do you agree? And he said, of course. So, yeah, he said he can still move, and it looked like he could yesterday.
All right, Christian wants to know, how is Jonathan Grenard doing? Jonathan Grenard, obviously, in his second season with the Houston Texans, made the position switch from outside linebacker to defensive lineman. We talked to him a little bit this offseason. He was excited about making the switch. That's really where he played a lot of his time in college, especially with Florida. So he was excited to be in a 4-3 defensive lineman. It's been really hard to see them so far because the defensive linemen, they practice in like a corner of the practice fields.
Right.
Like you need binoculars to see them. So it's hard to really get to see them. Yesterday we saw them in team a little bit. I think as the days go on, that's definitely a position group, Drew, that I want to watch. But Jonathan Grenard, I think, should be set up to have success this year if he stays healthy. What are your thoughts on him?
Reps, give him more reps, because the ones I saw him taking part in yesterday, I snuck down that part of the field. He looked good. He he was causing problems in the one-on-one blocking drills. So I do think, on the whole, as an answer to the question, Grenard is doing well. And you want to see him get to play more because, he's one of the guys that you invested one of your higher draft picks in the year before in 2020. So Grenard is somebody to definitely keep an eye on, number 52 there in the middle of your screen. And Eli, kind of to follow up on a defensive line question, wants to know how Charles Omenihu is doing. Charles is somebody that he's got the highest expectations for himself, but there are also high expectations around the building, around the league for him, and I think he's on his way towards meeting those expectations because he's having a good camp too, and you need him to have a good season because he's somebody that you kind of think you're going to be able to rely on because he's been disruptive in the past for you.
Yeah, and that might be another jersey to get if he has a good season this year.
Number 94.
Before pads came on one day in practice, they were doing 9-on-7 or they were doing some drills, and he batted down a ball with so much force that I felt like it reverberated throughout the practice field. So he's definitely out there. I think they're itching to get the pads on so they can really see how that pass rush is looking under Lovie Smith. And there he is, number 94.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him giving a little
It's like
shout out to the camera.
he heard us talking about him. I love it.
What's that?
It's like he heard us talking about him. He's got that
did.
sixth sense. So
He does. He looks good out there, and I think he works really hard in the off season. He stays in Texas, and every year I think he wants to get better and he wants to improve. He's never pleased with his performance, so I'm excited to see what he brings here this year.
Hey, somebody named Cohen is asking, what do you think about the Buffalo Bills, possibly moving to Austin? Now, the Buffalo Bills.
Oh yes.
I don't think they're going to move. I suppose they could move. I don't think they're going to move, but there is zero, and I mean zero chance that any NFL team, much less the Bills, will ever come to Austin anytime soon. So there's no chance it's happening. None.
Why do you say that? Why is there zero
No chance whatsoever.
I don't know where they would put a stadium. Where would all those fans stay?
It's not really about that. They could figure out a spot, but
Yeah.
I guarantee you the Cowboys and the Texans would
they
not let that happen.
they have something to say about it.
So there's no chance of that happening, Cohen. None.
Also, the Bills. I mean, it's an iconic franchise.
Yeah.
Not to say that it wouldn't be if it moved anywhere, but
I think that region could support, the
That
Austin,
region-
San Antonio, and some of the Hill. I think that could support an NFL team just fine. But it's not going to happen.
Drew
just
does
not. It's
not
going to get
want it.
blocked. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just saying it won't happen.
yeah, it doesn't seem likely. But I wonder if that's just a negotiating tactic. But great question. I like it
is
sometimes
good.
when we kind of go off the radar a little bit. Christian wants to know, have you met Pep Hamilton? What do you think of him? We've seen him around the building. We know a lot about Pep Hamilton, obviously. His time with the Chargers, his time within the division. He was offensive coordinator for the Colts when Andrew Luck was there. And you know what? He is out on the field, and the way he leads this offense, him and Tim Kelly are very similar in just sort of their leadership, sort of quiet, understated. Yesterday I saw them, they were running some drills where he had the offense lined up, the wide receivers and the quarterbacks, and it was just instructional. They were in full pads. I was ready to see some banging, but it was an instructional period. So personally, I think I've probably seen him in the hallway. I haven't had like a long chat with him. I'm sure that's coming sometime soon. We've done press conferences and whatnot with him, but I sort of like what he brings to this offense, his ideas along with Tim Kelly's, and I want to see how they put this thing all together.
I want a Drew's dozen with Pep Hamilton. I still haven't met him either because the guy's always working. I mean, he is a
maybe
hard
that's why.
worker.
He's just in his office.
And yeah, when I see him in the hall, he's at the other end of the hall going back into his office. So yeah, it's a great question. I definitely,
There he is.
definitely want to talk with him because, boy, he's been around the block and done so many different things in his career. Really, really impressive guy. And he's going to have his fingerprints all over this offense and this team in 2021 and beyond. And I can't wait to meet him and see what happens and what he does.
We saw him walking by there a little bit in the red T-shirt, and there he is right there with the running backs running through their drills. He's had so much experience, and he's got a lot of connections with a lot of guys on this team, Tyrod Taylor being one of them. And then Davis Mills, David Shaw, head coach for Stanford, and Pep are really good friends because the two were on the same coaching staff many, many years ago when Pep was still in college football. So he's kept tabs on a lot of these players. Then he was with Michigan, and that's how he knew about Nico Collins.
Yeah.
Because him and Ben McDaniels, they were on staff there together.
He's been everywhere. He's connected. He knows a lot of folks, and he knows a lot about the game. So yeah,
it is a lot of fun to have a coach here that sort of knows these players and has worked with them in different places and brings his ideas. And there you see the offense running through their drills. We should be out there in a little bit joining them. Tim Kelly there as well. I think the offense, I am so excited to see what they do here in pads today.
Me too. Can't wait. It's going to be a great day.
All right. Well, Drew, it's going to be a great day. It's your birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So want to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you out there for listening and sending in your questions. This has been Texans Training Camp Live presented by Xfinity. A lot of people worked on this show to make it come together. Tyler Marcotte, Caroline Jordan, Einav Leibowitz, Amanda Caffey, Alex Lozano, Jay McDevitt, Mitchell Moreland, Drew Doherty, and myself on behalf of all of us. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, go Texans.